So this is a random video, and Chris is just here, so pay him no mind.
Hey.
This is a heartfelt shout out to Square Enix. I recently watched Kingsglaive, Final Fantasy 15, and a couple things I wanted to say. Number one, when I was growing up, I realized that I stayed out of trouble most of my life, and it's probably because of video games, because instead of going out and throwing stones at cars or other things that kids in my neighborhood wanted to do for some reason.
Threw stones at cars in video games.
Yeah. And when growing up as a kid and playing those games, the ones that stuck out to me, besides a lot of the Nintendo games, were Final Fantasies. Final Fantasies helped shape my young adult life. And so they're very, very important and dear to me. So all those times that I may have been criticizing them, I want you to know how important it was when I was doing so. So Final Fantasy 15, the way they've been promoting it and having played it, it gives me hope that this is going to be a good game, like a really good game. And that hasn't happened, in my opinion, since Final Fantasy X. That being said, I know there's a lot of people who disagree and argue, and you know what, if you enjoyed the other ones, good. I'm glad. I'm really happy for you.
I think it helps that they care so much.
Yeah, and you people who are disagreeing with me right now and have liked 11, 12, 13, and 14, thank you, because you've had them, because of you, they've kept the series going. And now it's come around to a game that hopefully I can really enjoy and like. And I think one of the things that they did to cater to that so far has been throwing back in some of that nostalgia and doing a bit of fan service, but in a way they did really well. And so I watched Kingsglaive, and it's a terrible movie. And don't turn the video off. Don't turn the video off. It's a bad movie, but it's not meant to be a good movie, in my opinion. It's meant to be an informative story piece.
It's bad for all the right reasons.
Yeah. Except for Libertas, he was a really bad. That was a bad. I wasn't happy with him, but there was moments of true good acting. It was like, oh, I really liked that. I liked what you did. But they did some fan service where maybe future Chris will put this up in the video or whatever. But there you go, bam. They did some fan service that was really smart. These demons are summoned, and very, very large creatures, and they fight in large city scales. And this kind of goes back to all the Final Fantasies when you summoned a creature like Leviathan or something, and they were huge, right? And especially Final Fantasy IX, I believe, really, really put that into perspective when like Bahamut would show up and just blow an entire city apart. And you're like, oh my god, they're huge. And so this game, or Kingsglaive, really played off that idea that these things are massive and large. And so there was the first one that showed up, I'm looking, I'm like, why is this? Or I guess it was really the second one, but it showed up, I was like, this thing looks really familiar. And I realized, I'm pretty sure that's Ultima Weapon from Final Fantasy VII. And then later on, this giant octopus thing shows up, this pink weird octopus thing, and then eventually it dawns on me, I'm like, this is Ultros from Final Fantasy VI. They're doing a throwback, but nobody looks at him and goes, oh, it's Ultros. And nobody really mentions it. It's just a terrifying thing, but you look at that and you go, oh, if you played Final Fantasies, it sticks out to you. But if you hadn't, it's fine. You didn't need that information. You're going to say something?
No.
No? Okay, cool. I'll continue my rant. Anyway, so, yeah, They've done some awesome fan service, and they've done a really good job promoting Final Fantasy 15 so far. They've had the first two demos we played, and I'm doing this video talking about this movie now. And then there's the other game that I'm going to force this guy to play with me, the King's Tale. What they've done is they've really shown the background and the backbone of this world, because I think one thing they've realized is that their writing is not always strong when it comes to developing the world sometimes. And that's because they don't have all the time in the world to tell you every single little detail that's important. And so because of that, you miss out on a lot of information, and it's just assumed that you should know it. So if you want to know about the main character's father and why he's important and why the world is burning down, maybe you should play the games and play these demos or watch the movie. The movie's important just because it lets you know who the king was. Because when the game starts, they're just going to be like, dude, king's dead, your father's dead, I'm sorry. And you're going to be like, who was this guy?
Why do I care?
Why do I care? And, you may get that from the characters' responses during the game, but you get a little bit more from watching that informative story, the movie, Kingsglaive. Also, why it's called that and why these characters are important and why people can teleport using swords, because that's actually a thing that people do. It's not just like a random,
I still wonder about that. I should go watch the movie.
They make it, like, at first you're like, huh? And then it all kind of clicks. There's a weird part where it's like, why can people use magic? Because the king has magic and he shares it. And then they're like, oh, the king doesn't have magic or whatever. Something happens, right? And the people don't have magic. And then somebody gets like, I want magic. And then he gets it back. And he's like, I got it because of this ring. And then he gives the ring to somebody else. He's like, take this ring. And then they're like, okay, cool. And then he still has the magic, but the person who has the ring doesn't have the magic. And so there's some plot holes. There are plot holes, and that's fine. As I said, it wasn't a good movie, but it was important, and I'm glad that they did it. And actually, it is beautiful. It is like, you look at it, and there's very few moments where I'm like, uncanny valley. There's like 2 moments I was like, that's kind of weird. Otherwise,
it's a little too real.
A little too. Your eyebrows are kind of odd. But otherwise, like, for the most part, the characters were realistic enough. I didn't get taken away by it at all. The animation was great. But so this is just like a shout out to Square Enix. I really hope that this game is good. I really, 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 really want this game to be awesome. And
I think they hope that too, though.
I think so too. They put a lot of promotion into the game, so people know that it exists.
More than any developer or publisher has put into promoting over the last, decade.
Of anything. All combined, basically.
I mean, who makes games to promote their game?
Good point.
And an
Many
anime
games
movie.
on top of that, yes.
So, who does that? No one.
They make, movies after the fact or games based off of those games, but not beforehand. So this has been a really cool experience, and I'm really hopeful. That being said, also, thank you for bringing back Magic Tech Armor. It was just don't, just forget I said that. I'm just, that's more fan service. Anyway, so, that's all I got. And thanks for watching, I guess.
This non-episode of GDPG?
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you guys around.
Argue with Nathan in the comments.
Bring it.